this. Not cores, but line is picked up as well. Line worked out fairly well for them last game. A lot of stuns, fingers in good places. Probably will be played by Jakey this time. Jakey, fairly common line player for them, but we'll see how they decide to. Jakey, by the way, is tilde. That's not a tilde. Enya. Enya_Enya. As I said, I got up to there. I see. I can fix that. All I need to.
Only 10 seconds. Radiance ban.
Okay, that should be better. Let me know if that does not fix the problem, if it still cuts in and out. I missed the bans here, so the next ban was the Zeus. Not a hero you typically see. I guess we saw him banned last game too. Not a hero that I typically see banned. But good against Spectre, just because he can locate which Spectres are the one. Of course, he can always haunt another one, or reality to another one, so it doesn't really matter. The Nature's Prophet is banned next. Of course, with the next ban, they expect Legion Gaming to want a bunch of int cores. Go ahead and get rid of it. Easy. And that also doesn't allow them to be as greedy. If you have an Ench in the jungle, then you can put Nature's Prophet opposite in the jungle, and Nature's will scale into the very late game better, just because he has well, will he still scale into the very late game better? I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore with Dragonlance. It's hard to say. Traditionally, he would scale into the late game better, though. Ursa banned out next. Big body hero, or able to snowball very quickly and punch down towers before Spectre can really get anything up, so a good ban out for the Dire. And the Phoenix is banned out next. The Radiance Mischance combined with the Phoenix Egg, obviously not something you want to have to deal with at all, especially once you combine that as well with the attack slow from Lich Armor, and I believe, yeah, the attack slow from Chain Frost as well. Don't have to worry about that. Get rid of it. So they do pick up the Lich next, which they didn't actually know about the Phoenix before the Lich, so ignore everything I said about that. Lich would be a good combo with Phoenix, though. For that reason. And the Sven in response to a lot of armor on both teams at this point, but really Radiant have, or Pyrodemic have, a huge amount of magical burst. They have Impetus, they have Finger, they have Legion, that's not the Laguna Blade, jeez. Forgive me, please. It's been months since I did this. And the Dark Seers picked up next for Legion Gaming. But as I was saying, there's just a huge amount of magical burst out of Pyrodemic. Oracle is good at countering a little bit of magical burst. You can prevent any magical burst onto one hero. In this case, it would be the Spectre using Fate's Edict, using Fate's Edict. But you have this much, like, what are you gonna do? And there's still a lot of physical burst as well out of the Sven with his ult. Now, of course, that is going to be an issue if Darkseer gets a hold of Sven, especially if he gets an Ags later, and Sven's illusion will just tear through the Radiant team. He stands in that wall for 2. The last ban out will be the Quap, another int core. They don't want to have to play against that. And it's not so much, I think, at this point that they don't want to have to play against it, although Quap is a very good hero against Enchantress and Lion because of the HP pools throughout the entirety of the game that can still be burst down through Blink, Scream, Sonic Wave combo. But one sec. Apparently I'm still having mic issues on this. Okay, I can fix that as well.
5 seconds.
Apologies for all of this. I'm also on a new system, in addition to it being quite a while since I actually passed. So we'll just down 10 milliseconds. Lower that 6 decibels, and that should be good. Hopefully that will be sufficient. So Bristleback is banned out next by the Dire. Bristleback, a lot of beef. They don't have to deal with a frontliner when they want to get back behind onto the Lion, the Lina, and the Enchantress. So they are going to go ahead and get rid of that. And it might have been actually a really strong hero. It would have been actually a really strong hero for Pyrodemic to pick, so I would have expected them, honestly, to do something along those lines because they need an offlaner. Combos fairly well with the heroes they have, which are going to have early burst plus more drawn-out team fights from the heals and the low cooldown stuns, which allows you to get a lot of extra spikes off. As it is, it's not available to them, so they are going to go for the Ogre Magi. Interesting. So this is... I'm not sure what their lanes are going to be. They're definitely going to go very early. They're going to peak around 20-25 minutes, and if they don't have a Rax by then, they are going to be very hard-pressed to get one against a Spectre and a Darkseer and Oracle Lich, just Lich armoring up all the towers, Oracle keeping people alive all the time, and we've seen that China is very good at that very thing.
Only 10 seconds.
So there's still plenty of reserve time. Legion have a full minute and a half to make a decision on this here. They don't have to do it early at all. They do need a mid. I would say Windrunner, but it looks like they're going to go for the Razor. So Razor just gets in on the Sven. He has enough tank to actually survive some of the burst, especially with the cost of using any targeted spells on Razor, and there are a lot of targeted spells against him, or to be used. So that's, I think, a very strong choice for them. He can get in and sap the Sven, who can't really get away, or the same for the Enchantress, who, as long as he's close to her, isn't doing nearly as much damage. I like that choice, honestly. It's very good for them. I think a Windrunner could have been good as well, especially just for overpowering the Untouchable. And she was available in the pool and is a decent mid, but as they go with this choice, we will see how it works out for them. And we can go ahead and introduce the teams once again. It is the second in the series, not as much need to, but we go ahead and see Lady once again carrying on a fantastic, beautiful spec set. I really like it. China once again on the Oracle as well. Carp going in the off lane this time. Again, the solo laner, but this time I think in a hero that's more suited to Dota and a hero that's more suited to the lane that he's in. Cringe will be playing the Lich. I am AFK sleeping is AFK sleeping. Senj will be playing the support Lion, and we'll see Jakey is going to be on the support Ogre. Yes? No. Sub is... They have completely changed around their positions this game, so this time we will have the safe lane carry played by Jakey. Senj will again be on the support, but Sub will be on a support this time as well in the Ogre Magi. Mid will be played by Poe on the Lina. And Alvinic will be the off-lane Enchantress. So an entirely different lineup, or entirely different positioning this time. We'll see if it works out any better for them. So this has got to be a support Lich. Where are they going to put him? What? I'm not entirely sure, honestly. But I'm AFK Sleeping will be their mid. Once you get at those levels in Static Link early, I'm sure. No contest for either of the runes. One for Poe in bottom, one for Razor in top. Entirely uncontested. They don't have to deal with that. Meanwhile, China is going to pretend to ward, maybe force Senj to drop a sentry. Let's see if he does. Yeah, Senj fell for it. I'm not sure if China was in vision long enough for Senj to click on his inventory to check him before he went up the hill, but. And gotta feel bad for that. And Senj is really far out of position. He's gonna get rooted here. And Razor's gonna walk towards him. He hasn't skilled yet. He can skill his Q or his W. He hasn't chosen one. He does get Earth Spikes. He's gonna go ahead and just right click. Lich throwing out some right clicks. Well, and Razor did. He did skill his Plasma Field, but decided not to go ahead and cast it. Couldn't quite get in range to do it. Meanwhile, the lady's been having to solo lane against Alvinic as the Enchantress. Not something you really want to have to do as a Spectre. You don't want to solo lane as a Spectre early generally anyway, but against an Enchantress especially. who has really good range, really good move speed, a really good turn rate, and of course is able to bring in the Centaur to stomp you. Just out of whim. Pyrodemic is going to go ahead and turn around onto Cringe, but China number 1 is there. He knows that he can't go in, so he's going to back himself away. I'm probably going to watch this top lane a lot, because I like seeing good Enchantress play. So Maniac does pull out the creeps, or maybe he prevented the pull. I'm not entirely sure how that went down. Now, they do have only the 2 melee heroes here. Of course, there is plenty of regen on Sven, and he could probably feel okay just taking whatever damage he's going to take, and he's going to go ahead and use the stun. They do stack their stuns a little bit there, which means Garp is going to be able to run away. He does have Surge, but he's not going to use it. He's going to be a little late. He tries to use his Salve, but it's not enough. Sven's range is the 2nd longest melee attack range in the game, only after Doom, and he's able to get it off, and he can just back off and use his Salve. He knows it's not quite enough, so he's going to use it as well, but oh man, just a little too greedy there on Darkseer's part. Of course, if he had surged, Sven had a Mango to Stormhammer him again, but I feel like with the stacked stuns, there was enough time to get that. Meanwhile, top lane, Enchantress has been forced away. He picked up this rune here. It was illusion, so he's throwing those back here, just harassing AFK sleeping as much as he can. Poe, of course, having some issues. So there is, unfortunately, a very strange bug with this pair of heroes in particular. If I'm AFK sleeping, or if Razor has his unstable current skilled, even though you cannot target Dragon Slave on heroes, and even if you target it on the ground, away from the hero, if it hits Razor, at least this was true for a short period of time, then it will still trigger unstable current. Obviously, that's not something you want to happen with your just general purpose AoE ground target nuke. They probably have fixed. I haven't played that matchup in a long time, but I'm pretty sure they had fixed the bug where it would still trigger unstable current even if you didn't target it on the hero. But if you did hit the hero while you were targeting, because the targeting for that skill's range, you can click on a hero and target it, but it will still target the ground underneath the hero. So it doesn't act like a hero target spell even when you click it on a hero. And it's generally not good practice to do so anyway, because the targeting range is shorter than the damage range, which is further out here. But if that bug hasn't been fixed, this is going to be a difficult lane for Poe. More difficult than really I think the matchup warrants. It looks like Garp is going to get Hex before he can search, and he's going to go down a second time. The Stormhammer was led with, and I was still bumbling on about mid lane. So we can go ahead and see up here in top how this lane is going. Pyrodemic does have level 3, has plenty of creeps here. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he's going to have EXP being stolen all the time from this Lich. That is the worst part about playing against Lich, but the best part about playing against Lich is that he's not that great a hero. But Pyrodemic is going to get level 4 off of that creep wave. Going to be able to pull this out, it looks like, fairly easily. There's only a small Centaur, so as soon as those die, then she'll just pull those creeps away. Get all the XP in the world. Totally happy about that. Generally, I don't see people single pulling into the hard camp because it's not sufficient a lot of the time, but I just wanted to get that as far away. Like they're willing to trade XP on an Enchantress for farm on a Spectre. Like I would make that trade. That's totally okay. China number 1 rotating in mid. I did miss the death. My apologies. It looks like he TP'd in to try to counter gank, but it was insufficient. Sentry goes down, as does the Obs, and the Obs follows. Garp here, looking at the creeps. Back there is not. Sub sitting over here. What's he gonna do? Just protecting. At this point, Sven is probably going to want to fly himself another salve. He's going to want to get a mask at some point, or something to deal with all of this dot that he's taking out of Ion Shell. Like, Sven's pretty tanky. He can handle a low-level Ion Shell for quite a while, but at this point he is going to need to get some sort of regen into lane. We look at top, we do see Cringe sitting over here on the sidelines. I'm still baffled by his choice of item. Maybe he thought he was going mid or something. Unfortunately, that creep is going to block the stack. But they also didn't get the pull. I guess that works out in the end together. AFK Sleeping does have his bottle. Gonna get his boots here very shortly. Both bottles up. Let's get the last of. Definitely have to practice my early game more. Alvnik might go down here, but he has that untouchable at level 3, so it's really insufficient, especially with the Nature's Attendants healing him up there at the end, and he's actually able to just stay right in lane. Courier is bringing him phase boot. Is that the build these days? I thought she typically went shreds. But sure, phase boots. I'm totally okay with that. 380 move speed plus with just phase plus the active, like totally okay. Generally, it's pretty slow early game so far, and that really does favor LG, but of course, it's not really up as far as the levels are concerned for Pyrodemic. They need to have level 6 on both of their supports. They need to have level 7 on Sven, and they're getting there. Oh, they have level 7 on Sven, so they are about ready to make a push in A lane. Poe using his regen rune, unfortunately getting it popped fairly early. Unable to get quite as much value out of that as he would have liked. Probably wanted to get the ult off onto AFK Sleeping, but he's totally okay, honestly, at this point, just right-clicking down the tower, making some space. It looks like Ench is coming up really far forward here, but it's probably okay, because like, I don't have nearly enough burst to take him down. They have like a combined 300 maybe out of that, and it looks like, yeah, they are going to start with it. If they're able to get a little bit more off, then they might be able to pop him with the Fortune's End, but the Lion comes in as well as the TP in from Poe. The Earth Spike and the Dragon Slave are sufficient to take down Lich. 4-0 so far for Pyrodemic. This game is starting off much better than the last one. And so much damage just from one right click, and almost getting caught by that Dragon Slave, but it's not quite enough to take him down. Poe taking a lot of tower hits here. This TP in from Razor, who is able to take him out, especially with the dispersion damage from the Laguna Blade and a last tower shot. Unfortunately, Spectre did not quite die from that. Senj is going to have to throw his stun at some point, but Razor decided not to dive that. I think he could have, honestly, just with some right clicks, but with Alvnik sitting right behind him, two impetus available, probably would have ended up in Razor's death. Probably not worth it. Good call on his part. Meanwhile, bottom lane, we have Garp being attacked by Submaniac, who has actually been given over this lane to farm. So now Razor, probably with his mask, yeah, his Hotted, is sitting over here in the jungle, just taking up all the creeps. Has level 4 Great Cleave, and is just content to farm. Casually stacking camps, getting all the gold out of them. Looks like China is going to throw up a ward over here. Does that block the camp? Yes, it does. So he's happy with that, especially since this... Oh yeah, I hadn't considered that. Especially since this Satyr Banisher are stacking for no reason. Although it's not really a huge investment. As soon as he goes and clears that stack, which should happen fairly quickly, as soon as he gets level 9, he should have enough armor available in Warcry to go ahead and take that. Still a very passive play early. The only death that's happened, or the only 5 deaths that have happened in the entire game are spread out fairly evenly across the map. There is going to be an ult in from Talady, who goes ahead and finishes off Lina. And he's running in onto Sub, who gets earned up, and is going to take one final Desolate right click and end up dying out. Talady just haven't earned to heal himself up, and Lion died on the back end as well, just to a casual plasma field. So good return into the game from LG. Like, they made good plays, and this is really how they managed to hold in last game. Like, they were behind, they knew they were behind, they let themselves fall behind when they needed to, and then as soon as there was an opportunity to pull back up, they did so. That opportunity has come a lot earlier this game, but just the same style of play, and they're doing it fairly well. Sven does use his ult here, as well as his Stormhammer, followed up by a Dragon Slave and Light Strike Array, so that will be the end of Mr. Darkseer. They are going to try to go over here after China, but he's going to walk himself away quickly enough that that's not going to be an issue. He just does the best strat in Dota, casually walking away, and pulls himself out. Meanwhile, Sven is going Yasha. Is S and Y the build on Sven? Now? I guess if you're not going to go Blink, S and Y makes sense. Starting with Yasha is questionable perhaps, but the extra attack speed might be nice. Didn't see in mid lane, Lion and... Is Oracle going to die as well? Yes, Oracle is going to die as well. Almost managed to take out Pope, but actually was unable to do so, so he gives a little bit of extra heal to him. So Lion and Razor trading lives there. Finger not used, so probably was Lagooned. Yep. And that won't quite be the end of this tower. It should get down to like under a third HP, which is more than sufficient at this point for the Radiant team. Although they do need to start grouping up and taking buildings fairly quickly. As soon as Sven has his core items up, apparently he's going S and Y, so he's going to have to get a BKB as well against the Razor and against the Razor and the Oracle. And the Lich, I suppose, as well. There aren't really a lot of stuns. Actually, he might be able to skip BKB. Although, if he does skip BKB, he's going to get kited to hell, even with... There's going to be a fight here in mid lane. Darkseer does get the DD anyway, but that does force Darkseer to take the DD over Razor, which is good. AFK Sleeping does turn around to try to take a right-click out onto the Courier, and that allows Sub to actually get himself away. Again, stacked stuns, all three of them. That's going to be... If Pyrodemic lose this game... that particular set of stack stuns didn't matter, but I think if they lose this game, it's going to be because of stack stuns. And Senj casually trying to get brown boots. Should have them now. And the Enchantress Illusion and the Lion Illusion trying to keep him... Oh, I'm dumb. He has Tranks. Okay, he had dropped his Tranks. Darkseer was trying to kill the Tranks. Senj got them in time. I see. I know this is technically the right play, but I've destroyed so many Tranquil Boots on heroes that it just scares the hell out of me to actually do it. Of course, if you drop it under the tower and stay back far enough that you're not going to get like stunned, and there are no stuns in the first place, then it's probably more okay. See a smoke. Thought he was warding, just decided to smoke instead. He is going to try and take out the stacking creep over here, and it looks like he successfully. That was pinged out very quickly, so they are aware that he was smoked over here, and also that there was high ground vision. Get rid of that quickly, or it even seems to have had an effect. So. Possibly not the play there. Did show their ward. And Lina does take illusion here, goes ahead and throws the illusion. It looks like she's going to come top, and this is where we're going to see the fighting start. Pyrodemic are up in the kills. They have the levels now at this point that they need to go. So Lady's actually going to TP bottom while Poe comes up, which is going to mean that this tower is entirely free. LG are probably just going to go ahead and give this up. They're okay with doing so. As they have shown, Cringe, unfortunately, is not going to survive this. And not even going to have forced a Laguna Blade. So he's going to be sad he didn't force the Laguna Blade. Probably should have just walked up into the trees and TP'd. Or even just walked up into the trees and stayed there. It's unlikely that LG would have checked the trees. Possible, but certainly less likely than the Lina that the creep over here saw earlier. But mid is being attacked at the same time. There's going to be a little bit of damage going on to it. So even though they do lose the top tower, they're going to take a significant amount of damage on mid. The Relic is forced out. Glyph is forced out. But let's go ahead and see how this is going. Yeah, Ben almost has S and Y, plus Treads, plus Dom at 15 minutes, and he's going to get the stack off here as well. Going to go ahead and use his ult for that. It's an 80-second cooldown that he's not going to be able to use for a team fight, but he's totally happy with that since he gets to take the entire stack. That gets him over 1,000 gold. Definitely worth. And he's going to TP bottom and try to make use of it. He still has a good 5 seconds left on his ult, and he's able to get this double stun. Now, Garp is fast enough there to get his Yules off, but Garp's going to die as well. Sven is battling Sven in the wall, but it's not sufficient because the Sven that came out of the wall did not have God's strength. Senge over here wants to use his finger. He's pinging him out. He knows that if there is a stun, he can just finger up. And it is 600 damage. Lich has more than enough HP at this point. Tranquil's up. And they are going to deny this mid tower just as Sven gets here. He's going to be happy to farm, but disappointed he doesn't get the last hit on that tower.
Selfish.
AFK being bottles up that regen rune. Still a generally slow-paced game as far as team fights and pushes are concerned. A lot of just, we'll give up this objective and we'll give up this objective in order to get our Spectre really freaking farmed. She is going to go for the Radiance, it looks like, and has gotten 2/3 of the way to the Relic. While though, Lena's walking up here and there's no vision. The lady has no way to know that Lena came, and the Yules is out, so there's going to be the Dragon Slave, but the Dragon Slave misses! Oh man. Poe is still going to want to try it, but it's not going to be nearly sufficient. Talidi has gotten himself all the way out. He needs to back himself away before the Lich gets here. There isn't any other rotation, so actually he's totally okay because the Lich decided not to come in. But man, such a sad day. If he'd hit that stun, then Talidi would be entirely dead. And Talidi needs to respect that, I think. Poe is still looking in the trees. Now he sees Talidi's over here, so he's going to go again, but there is a Lich this time. He does hit, though, but he uses too much mana. Talidi does end up going down. Cringe is not going to have an ult, so he's going to go down to the finger, or the Laguna. Oh, man, what a disaster. They had the heroes up. China is going to try to save himself, and he takes enough damage to die, but he's going to heal himself up here. Oh, he runs out of mana. Oh, man, that's... Oh, he's got to be so frustrated about that. He did get the kill on the Lena, so that's a good amount of gold. He will have his arcanes up, but oh man, running out of mana. Everybody runs out of mana. Definitely. It's very late where these players are playing too, so that's definitely showing at this point. They're all getting a little tired. The mech is finished up on Darkseer. Should see some counterplays starting to come out of LG. Even though Talidi has died, like he hasn't had any gold gain in the last 2 minutes because of his death, but he's still got a decent amount of HP of gold built up. Lich trying to bait them back for a 2-man Ice Blast, Chain Frost, but he just dies too quickly, takes too much damage, and ends up getting stunned by Ogre once he does finally turn around to try to get the Chain Frost. And that'll be this top tower. And LG, they know that they have to just barely defend these towers, like stall more than anything, because they need to get that Radiance if they're going to go for it. I think at this point, honestly, I probably would have switched over to the Vanguard build, but Garp is going to run after Albnic here. It just doesn't matter, though. And now, of course, as soon as the vacuum is used, Ench TPs. That's the only stun that they have. They have vacuum and Chain Frost are the only stuns, so if one of those is used or both of those are used, you are free to just TP yourself away. And that'll be the mid tower here too. So it looks like all the tier 2s are gonna go down for Team Pyro very early. Senge getting a little bit of heal back up from Oracle's Purifying Flames, but it's not nearly enough to keep him alive. Lena does die, and that actually will be another deny and a very good team fight. This is exactly what LG have to do to stay in this game. They have to take very decisive picks. They have to play very safely until they have the opportunity, and they're executing very well. Like, even though it's kind of a slow game to watch in general, the way that LG are playing is exactly right for the lineup they have versus the lineup that they are against. And Albnic just casually throwing in some Enchantress Solutions. Unfortunately, Enchantress Solutions are goddamn tanky because they get Enchantress's passive, the Untouchable, and they're just gonna let them stay. Just casually trying to kill Illusions. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. 4 heroes for Dire sitting up here on the top lane now, protecting Spectre, who has almost finished the Relic. Like, once they get the Relic, and once they get the Radiance, these team fights are going to become a lot easier, but there's still going to be a lot of room for Spectre not only to grow, but a lot that Spectre has to get. Like, there's a lot of gold she has to get after the Radiance. that type of I'm going to kill your entire team now, Kate thanks hero that she can become, especially against 4 int cores or 4 int heroes and a Sven, or well 3 int heroes, ogre, and a Sven. And Sub trying to ward. He has the mech, so he can go ahead and get himself away. There is going to be a Dragon Slave as well as a Laguna Blade, which does a massive amount of damage, followed by a Finger, which will end a Lich's life. But there is a wall, and Lady is going to end up killing, actually, with the Dispersion damage, the Ogre Magi. But this is going to be a 5-man wipe. It looks like for LG. Pyrodemic only lose 2, and Spectre is forced to buy. Oh! If Spectre dies here, the game is over. That was a very greedy play, and... Oh, and she didn't A-click. Oh, no. Sven is just taking their buildings. This is an absolute disaster. Sven's like, I don't even care about your Spectre. She has 3,000 gold, but she has nothing else. There's going to be a Chain Frost. There's so many creeps here. He has to get so lucky to make anything happen. And actually, they might get that lucky. They are able to get it at the very end. Cringe gets the last hit, which is not ideal. So Lady wants to be able to get that Radiance up still. But honestly, that's the best result they could have asked for. Man, what lucky bounces. There were 6 creeps, 10 bounces available. Each creep takes 2 or 3 to kill. And 4 Chain Frost bounces end up hitting a Sven. That's honestly astounding. They might have been able to do it even without that with the Oracle pin, but that was just very lucky and very well played at the same time from LG to keep that in their head and make it happen. And Spectre will finally get her Relic at 23 minutes. She still has to get the Radiance. She still has to get the Manta, the Diffusal, the Heart, like whatever you want to build after that, the Scotty. But going to be a very long uphill battle if they are able to hold out that long. They did it last game, but I don't think they were nearly at the same deficit at the same time. Actually, I recant. They were at exactly the same deficit at exactly the same time. So this is actually still in their court, or at least potentially in their wheelhouse, if nothing else, but Lady's going to die. That's probably going to be the end. Like, I don't see how they recover from this point. I counted them out last game and they came back, but at this point, with a Spectre that has only a Relic at 24 minutes, is dead for another minute on the top of that, still doesn't have Radiance. I just don't see it. Excuse me. And this is going to be Rax. Spectre doesn't have buyback because she used it less than 7 minutes ago. I just wanted to select her, not anything else. So there's the Earth Spike coming out. The ult is used out of Razor. And a fantastic vacuum wall into a Chain Frost. Doesn't matter, there's too many creeps around. The Chain Frost is going to bounce quite a bit, but it's not going to kill anybody. The Sven does die, though, but Albnic is going to go ahead and right-click onto I'm AFK sleeping, but it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to get away, maybe? He's taking a lot of damage, but he has that untouchable, and he is still walking himself out. Spectre does come back to life, and he's just barely unable to finish off a right-click before Spectre walks too far away, and Lady does get fingered and stunned and Dragon Slayed and Laguna'd, and he goes down a second time, or not a second time, but he goes down again with still no Radiance, and the Yules is used, but that'll be the end of Cringe. 4 heroes dead. That's almost definitely going to be at least a second tower, maybe? These heroes aren't very good at pushing, but I think they can get at least some damage on this tower. Killing off the Sven did prevent any damage from losing the team fight to their buildings, but they are down a melee racks at 25 minutes. This is the peak. Like, this is the peak for Pyrodemic. And LG could still come back from this. Like, there have been bigger comebacks in Dota. Well, yeah, actually, there have been much bigger comebacks in Dota. So, it's still within the realm of possibility, but it's going to be a very long, hard slog for LG if they want to bring this back. Like, they have 1 tower at this point, 26 minutes. They've got the heroes for it. Certainly try. Poe over here, though, he has Blink and Yules and Ags, and he's going to go right over here as soon as Taladi shows himself. Yeah, they're walking right there. The DD is picked up, and they're going to go ahead and instantly take Rosh. But this is a confined area, and I believe this was seen. No, it wasn't seen, but they know, and they're gathering up. LG are going to try to take this fight, but it's going to be so fast for this Roshan to die, and he's already dead at this point. And this Sven has the Aegis. He can die now. They're going to blink up. They're going to take this T2 bottom, the last outer tower standing. And Sven is just going to go kill them. Blink in, stun, use your spells, or use your Warp Cry. Don't use your ult. Wait for the Aegis, respawn, ult, win game. Like, that is the essence of Pyrodemic's plan at this point. He's going to have some support from the rest of his players, but that's going to be the way that this game is going to play out, and it's almost certainly going to end right now. The glyph is used, and so we're going to see the blink in. Now, he does blink and stun AFK sleeping, which means he does get the debuff on him, but Garp's going to go down to Albnick. He does buy back as well as the Lich. AFK sleeping uses his ult. He's going to try and get some damage done, but nobody's died on the Radiant side yet. And Taladi has no ult. He's already used it, and he gets used up. He walked outside of the base. Now he's going to get stunned from Albnick, or from Poe. He's going to get stunned by the Stormhammer as well. There's still an Aegis available. Jakey is totally okay to die here, and that will be the end of the Oracle. Taladi actually does manage to survive out for a while. He has his Radiance up. He is giving a little bit of mischance out, but now Albnick is going on him. The blink is a lot harder now, especially with the wall in the way, but now we're going to see a blink onto I'm Sleeping, but it doesn't matter because he's not going to get attacked for quite a while. It does end up mattering. He gets a follow-up stun from the Lina. Sen's going to take a lot of damage here. He's going to die out to the Ion Shell as well as to Taladi's Radiance. It doesn't matter because he held them away long enough for the Razor to die. There are no buybacks. The only ones that were available have been expended. That's going to be a second Rax at 28 minutes. And if the coffin wasn't shut for LG before, it it definitely is at this point. Looks like they might go ahead and stay in and play the game to the end. 2 racks down. It's possible. It's unlikely, but possible. They're going to go ahead and play this out and see if they can make it happen. The mech is used. They get a little bit of damage done. It's like, he's low in the base, and then the mech comes out, and it really just doesn't matter at all. Ogre could buy his 4-staff. Ogre could buy Greaves straight up at this point if he wanted to. And it looks like basically until the Radiance respawns, until Rosh respawns, the Team Pyrodemic is just content to sit back, and the series is going to be tied up 1-1 at the end of this. Who's going to come in here? Looks like he wants to go for a play. Now he's going to go Yules up onto Garp, try to make something happen, but he... who used that on him? Oracle? Yes, Oracle has a Glimmer Cape this game. It was sufficient to keep Garp alive. Well done. It doesn't matter. AFK sleeping does just go ahead. Oh, Poe blinks in and ults onto Garp, and he just dies. Poe dies in return, though, so I'm not sure if that was entirely worth it. AFK sleeping using his plasma field as well. Albnick just not enough mana, really, to finish off AFK sleeping while he was being chased. And, of course, he is down 119 extra damage because of the leash. Static link. But now that Sven's up, even without the Lina, looks like they might be ready to go in on the racks. And honestly, I don't know if they need the Lina. They have a crit stick, they have a moon shard, they have a blink, they have an SNY, they have everything they could possibly want. There's no wall available for 30 seconds, and they even have ice armor because Lich. They couldn't get the Lich for themselves, so they just bought one. They're going to have ice armor on their team as well as the extra armor from Warp Cry. They're not going to take any physical damage from anybody. Get up here. There is ice armor on the tower. Like, this is possible to defend. I'm not going to say plausible. That would be lying. I'm sorry. And Sven's just going to walk up the hill, do a little bit of damage to the tower, going to walk up and do it again. And now he ults, but he gets disarmed right away. Not even able to get one ult right click off, but the God Strength is just going to be the end of this tower. He's going to chunk it down. And he gets disarmed again, but it's not soon enough. The tower is dead at this point. But God Strength is almost done. So he's going to have to go for the range tracks. He's actually going to need to blink in and get the stun onto China. He's going to 1 right click, 2 right click, 3 right click down. Everybody is dead. A finger comes out. No buybacks available this time. Sven buys back. Oh, actually, there is a buyback. Spectre buys back. Sven, does he have BOT? Sven does not have BOT, so he has to blink all the way out there. Spectre does have ult, but is elected, or doesn't have ult yet, so still 2 seconds. AFK sleeping, though, is stunned out, but it doesn't matter because the Ogre gets caught by a Freezing Blast, or by a Chain Frost. And it looks like Senj is going to be able to get himself away just barely. He blinks down left. And it worked. They expect him to blink into the trees, and he managed to get away. And there is a Blinken, and a single Laguna Blade from full HP is sufficient to take out... Oh, okay, I see. The Blade Mail killed Lena after she Dagoned Spectre. And she decided it was okay to die, because she was going to die anyway, and went for it. That was the right play, absolutely. And now there's another God Strength available. GG is called. That is the end of the game. Well played. This game...